Should he still be a member of the Conservative Party? Why hasn't the whip been withdrawn?
Well, I think this only came to light, don't forget, at about 8 o'clock last night. So it's early days yet in terms of how the Chief Whip and others decide to proceed, ascertaining precisely what the facts were, making sure that people who felt exposed to the particular story get properly looked after. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of moving parts to this which need to be resolved during the day. So I think it's. I hesitate to try and sort of second guess or prejudge, what may or may not happen as a result of all of this.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, everyone deserves. I personally tend to think most people deserve a second chance. He's already had a second chance. He resigned following this something similar in 2017. Now it appears to have happened again.
Well, his reappointment, by the way, and it's important to stress, his reappointment was approved by the Proprietary and Ethics team in the Cabinet Office, as you would expect. And so I think sort of trying to sort of look at this in a sort of cumulative way may be a little unfair on Proprietary and Ethics and others who go through very diligently go through their duty to make sure that when people are appointed, they're appointed with this, if you like, independent approval. So, but my first reaction with all of this is always one of sadness, sometimes really rather than anger, because so many people are affected by this. Clearly, massive misjudgments appear on the face of it to have been made, and I think our first priority, rather than turning this into a sort of party political discussion, which it sounded almost dangerously like it was about to be, that we look after the interests of people who've been adversely affected by this. They must be and will remain our absolute first priority, so that anybody in Parliament, for any party who feels that they have ended up in one of these very unfortunate positions, has an independent grievance procedure they can go to, and they can expect to be heard, as I say, anonymously and independently. And that, for me, seems to be the priority that we should be addressing, rather than necessarily trying to use this as an opportunity to, let's say, notch up a couple of political goals. That sort of sounds and feels to me a bit unedifying in a very difficult situation.
Well, it is unedifying, isn't it? The behaviour that we are seeing from a string of MPs, whatever party you might want to say they come from. What can you possibly say this morning that will restore ordinary people's faith in the people they vote into Parliament?
Well, me standing here alone, I probably, there isn't a sentence or a word that I can use which is instantly going to change all of this and suddenly make everybody feel better about it. We strive with the committees that we have and the bodies that we have, whether they're independent or whether it's a standards committee or the Committee for Standards in Public Life. We are all, and it may sound strange this, but we're actually all desperate to not have this have a reputation hanging around us. But it is again, not trying to excuse anything. It's a big workplace, 650 MPs, many thousand members of staff, and there isn't a workplace in the land which could say with absolute certainty that these sort of things would never happen. We want to minimise the risk, and above all, we want to make people, we want to make people proud to work here. People love working in this place. It's a fantastic. Most MPs do a really good job and take their standards incredibly seriously, as do most of the staff who work here too. So yes, there are some really sad and unfortunate, very sort of stark examples of where this goes wrong. But 9 times out of 10 it doesn't go wrong. But when it does, I hope that there are measures in place, and we change them all the time. The new independence grievance procedure is something which is quite new. It's still in its infancy. I hope protects people's interests as best we can. But you're right, nobody likes hearing these things. I mean, I would much rather come on here and talk about other stuff, but we have to confront these things when they come up.